long ago, when the pyramids were still young.
Welcome back to Multiversal Studios. As a way to celebrate hitting 5,000 subscribers, I'll be doing a part 2 to my most popular video to date. However, this video won't be a continuation of the last one. It'll be a completely different idea, but it will take place in the Battle City arc. Now, due to this being a what if, Yugioh no longer exists.
It should have been me, not him!
And the world changes slightly due to this fact. The Ishtar family were heralded with a bigger responsibility than just protecting the pharaoh's secret. They were burdened with the spirit of the pharaoh itself in the form of the Millennium Puzzle pieces. The Ishtar family were responsible for protecting 3 items: the Millennium Necklace, the Millennium Puzzle, and the Millennium Rod. However, on one fateful night, on a tomb raid, the Millennium Rod was stolen. Now on the Kaiba front, Seto Kaiba is still adopted by Gozaburo.
Bishop to b6. Checkmate!
Ah!
You lose!
No! How could you beat me?
Now you have to adopt us like you promised, Mr. Kaiba.
Oh!
And as Kaiba eventually overthrows Gozaburo with the help of the Big Five and takes over Kaiba Corp, the Big Five presents Seto Kaiba with a gift. Something that used to belong to Gozaburo. Something he had bought at a black market auction a long time ago. It was the Millennium Rod. Now a few more things also change in the storyline. However, you'll realize that later on in the video. But before we jump in, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Our new goal is 10,000 subscribers. And I know we can achieve that together. Kaiba Corp is involved with a lot of different business ventures, some of which require Seto's attendance. One of them was funding the grand opening of a new Egyptian exhibit in the Domino City Museum, coordinating with Ishizu Ishtar.
Kaiba, do you believe in destiny?
Does it matter?
Seto Kaiba decided to bring the Millennium Rod with him to donate it to the museum, as the rod did nothing apart from remind him of his abusive stepfather.
Don't want any of these brats touching me. Let's just take a few pictures for the papers and I'll be on my way.
Seto met with Ishizu, who was wearing a similar item around her neck to the Millennium Rod, which was the Millennium Necklace. Ishizu proceeds to fill in Seto of his ancient Egyptian past. Obviously, Seto wasn't buying any of it.
All that nonsense may interest you, but I didn't come here for Egyptian History 101.
But Ishizu seemed to know a lot about Seto, even though he had never met her before. However, when Seto offered Ishizu the Millennium Rod, it instantly reacted to Ishizu's Millennium Necklace, showing Seto memories of his ancient past. Now Seto was taken aback, however he concluded it to be a magic trick.
What is this place?
However, before Seto could turn away and leave, Ishizu insisted he starts a Duel Monsters tournament. Kaiba had the money and influence to begin an international tournament, drawing in duelists from all over the world.
Screw the rules, I have money!
Seto initially thought Ishizu was wasting his time. However, Ishizu showed Seto a card which caught him by surprise and gained his attention. It was one of the legendary Egyptian god cards, but it wasn't Obelisk the Tormentor. It was the Winged Dragon of Ra, the most powerful god card out of the 3. Ishizu told Kaiba that she would give him Ra if Seto first did something for her. Seto couldn't believe what he was hearing. However, Seto's business instincts kicked in and was waiting for the catch. Ishizu explained how the Ishtar family had been there to protect the pharaoh's secret, as well as the pieces of the Millennium Puzzle. However, one day, her younger brother Marek turned against them and managed to steal the pieces of the puzzle, as well as one of the Egyptian god cards, and escaped. She aggressively accused Marek of heinous crimes against her family. Ishizu then presented a necklace for Seto. It had a similar marking to the Millennium Necklace and the rod. It was the central piece of the Millennium Puzzle. She told Seto that she managed to salvage 3 pieces of the Millennium Puzzle before it was stolen. One piece she had just given to Seto, one she kept for herself, and the last piece was given to a loyal support, which was Odeon. The rest of the 30 pieces was split between her brother Marek and his rare hunters. She requests that Seto starts a tournament, which brings Marek and his rare hunters out of hiding. She said if Seto could retrieve the 30 pieces of the puzzle for her, she will give Seto the Winged Dragon of Ra.
I bestow unto you the last of the Egyptian god cards, the Winged Dragon of Ra.
I thought it was called Mega Ultra Chicken.
Oh, that's right.
Seto's mind was racing. dueling, he couldn't care less about the puzzle pieces. However, getting his hands on the strongest duel monster card had piqued his interest. And not only that, Ishizu had just confirmed that her brother had the second god card in his deck. So there was a third god card somewhere else. Maybe Ishizu was right. This tournament would help Seto gain all 3 Egyptian god cards. And if that means helping Ishizu collect her trinkets, then it doesn't matter. Plus, worst comes to worst, he could always defeat Ishizu in a duel and take Ra by force. Seto agreed to her terms. However, working with so many sleazy business people in the past, Seto could tell that Ishizu wasn't being truthful. However, as long as the deal benefited him, he didn't really put too much thought into it.
I'll organize this tournament.
I thank you.
But I'm not going to set it up because of your fairy tales and your hocus-pocus mind tricks. I want to reclaim my title as the #1 duelist.
Seto walked away. However, Ishizu stopped him and asked him regarding the fate of the Millennium Rod he had brought to the museum, which took Seto by surprise because he had almost forgotten it was in his hands. He had become accustomed to it, almost like the item had become a part of him. A strange familiarity with the item washed over him, and Seto told Ishizu that he had changed his mind and attached the Millennium Rod to his belt and walked away. His last words to Ishizu were to keep the Winged Dragon of Ra safe, because he'll be back for it. In the next few weeks, Seto announced the Battle City tournament. The winner of each duel would hand over their most prized possession, whether that be a duel monster card or a piece of the puzzle. Duelists will also receive a locator card, and once a duelist has 8 locator cards, they are invited to the Battle City finals. Ishizu was correct. It seemed like a lot of unwanted duelists had hacked into his tournament, which Seto had allowed, as these were the people who possessed the cards and pieces of the puzzle he required. Kaiba used his new dual disc technology to track down the rare hunters. He made it his mission to defeat them all.
Rare hunters. They took my bait. Mokuba, it's just as I planned.
However, before he got a chance, it seemed like someone else was doing a similar thing. Rare hunters were being defeated one after another and left in a coma-like state. Eventually, Kaiba tracks down the one responsible, and it turns out to be no one other than the spirit of the ring, Bakura.
It's been quite a while, hasn't it? Can I help you with something?
Bakura had used his Millennium Ring to track down the pieces of the puzzle and systematically overwhelming the rare hunters and sending them to the Shadow Realm. Seto arrived at the scene of Bakura's last victim. He managed to catch the last few moments of the duel. The opponent looked terrified and screamed until he dropped to the ground, silent.
Guy's creeping me out.
However, just as Bakura was gloating and helping himself to the puzzle piece in the rare hunter's pocket, his Millennium Ring instantly was attracted to Seto, who stood behind him. Bakura was thrilled to see Seto. Not only did the ring pick up the Millennium puzzle piece around his neck, but also sensed another item, the Millennium Rod. Seto wasn't impressed and the least bit intimidated. He actually recognized Bakura from his days at the high school, but the Bakura he knew back then was super quiet. But this Bakura seemed to be radiating confidence and seemed a little unhinged. Seto readied his duel disc, ready for the oncoming duel. Bakura did the same thing with a vicious evil laugh. Now, as the duel started, it began pretty even, until Bakura summoned his Deerbound and destroyed Seto's Vorse Raider. Now, even when Seto summoned his Blue Eyes, Bakura had an answer for it and ended up destroying Seto's Blue Eyes. It's only when Seto summoned multiple copies of the monster did Seto finally get the edge and win the duel.
Take flight, Blue Eyes White Dragon, rise! Go, White Lightning attack!
As soon as Bakura was defeated, his demeanor changed.
Please, someone help me. I don't feel well at all.
As Bakura fell to the floor, several pieces of the Millennium Puzzle were scattered alongside of him. Roughly 23 pieces had been collected. Seto smiled as he realized that Bakura had done most of the work for him. Seto had a satellite monitoring every duel. It usually takes a while to pinpoint the exact duel. However, finding the remainder of the rare hunters was easy work, and in no time Seto had 29 pieces. Now, if we're not including Seto, Ishizu, and Odeon, there were still 2 pieces of the puzzle left. Seto presumed Marek had one, but was left confused on where the location of the second one was. Oh well, I'm sure it'll turn up in the finals, Kaiba thought, as he headed to the final destination of where the blimp would be. Seto thought he was the first one there. However, in the shadows was Ishizu, and a mysterious bald guy stood behind her. Seto assumed that was Ulon. Ishizu smiled and told Seto that she was pleased he could finally make it. However, Seto grunted and walked by her. Slowly but surely the other finalists came flooding in. Next to qualify was My Valentine.
Satan, because I'm worth it.
Mai, being a great duelist in her own right, made it to the finals with ease. Fifth to enter was Marek, who wore a hood and a serious expression on his face. He glared at Ishizu and Ulon as he took his place next to the blimp. Marek seemed really skinny, with dark circles around his eyes.
Well, if we manage to raise $1,000, we will be able to kick a puppy in front of a little girl.
The sixth duelist was Bakura. It seemed like the duel against Seto only fueled his rage.
And I'm not positive.
The seventh duelist was Esperoba. He strolled in with a smug expression on his face, followed by a train of his younger brothers. You see, with Yugi no longer existing, Joey was never taught duel monsters and never became a duelist. So therefore, Esperoba was able to cheat his way into the finals, using his brothers to spy on his opponent's hands from tall skyscrapers.
I can predict every card that you play!
Now the eighth finalist took a while to arrive, and you could hear their annoying laugh before you saw them. It was Weevil Underwood. Yet again, without Joey, Weevil managed to cheat and steal his way to the finals.
I was the regional champion!
Seto looked around the arena. In these 8 duelists should be all 3 god cards as well as all the pieces of the puzzle. Ishizu had the Winged Dragon of Ra, and between Obelisk and Slifer, Seto had no idea who had what, but he was planning to find out. Could this mysterious Odeon figure also have an Egyptian god card? And regarding the Millennium Puzzle pieces, Seto had 29 out of the 33. Marek had 1, Ishizu had 1, and Odeon also had 1. So which of the other finalists could possibly have the last piece? As they boarded the blimp, each duelist was shown to their own rooms. However, 5 minutes into their flight, an announcement was made calling all duelists to participate in a random drawing to find their opponent. Seto didn't waste any time. The matchups consisted of Seto Kaiba versus Weevil Underwood, My Valentine versus Marek Ishtar, Ishizu versus Esperoba, and Odeon versus Bakura. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have split this into 2 parts, but it won't be very long before part 3 is also out. I did this so people can engage in the video a lot better, plus there's a lot of twists and turns for part 3, so don't miss out. Thanks for watching.